Hi, it's Crystal, your nature-inspired relationship coach here, and I want to talk to you about journeys today and how important it is to just start the journey that you want to go on in your relationship. You've made it through Christmas, you've made it through the new year, and you've now made it through the first week back at work and getting back into some kind of normal routine after the Christmas break. Well done for doing that, because that's really difficult, and I often find it really hard to get back into the swing of things after a break. With all of that out of the way, perhaps you're now starting to turn your focus on to your relationship. Maybe you've decided to iron out the issues in your relationship once and for all, whatever that means to you. So how do you want your relationship to be this year? How do you want it to feel? Do you want it to continue as things are? Which, if your relationship's going really well and it's all working fine, then that's great, but not so great if not. Or do you want to make changes so that your relationship can actually shine? And the great thing is about all of this is you get to decide. What if, instead of feeling frustrated and powerless, you decided to take control and focus positively on your relationship and proactively, so that you can tackle your issues, so that you feel closer to your partner than you ever did before? To do this, you really need to want to, and that's the sticking point, and that's the thing that sometimes undoes a lot of couples when they're trying to enhance their relationship. It's not that couples don't necessarily want to, but it's that you really need to stay and feel motivated to be able to make the changes in your relationship, and that's not always an easy thing to do. Sometimes it can just feel like it's a really tough hill to climb, especially at this time of year. It's still dark, it's still cold, it's still damp, and so we've had all of the festivities, they're over, and actually it can just feel like a really long wait for the warmth and the light of spring. It can seem really far away, and sometimes when we set goals for ourselves in our relationships, the desired outcome can feel really far away as well, and that can really affect our motivation. But what we need to do is to recognise that the end goal can just take some time. It's not as though, for example, one morning we suddenly wake up and notice that there's sunlight and bird song and all the blossoms out and it's suddenly spring, and that all is well in the world. Actually, there are natural processes and steps that need to take place in nature, and a series of events that need to happen before we reach spring. And the thing is, although we're not always aware of it, nature is constantly and quietly preparing from this point forward. It's constantly and quietly preparing for moving towards spring every single day. We can't always see it, but there are minuscule changes happening even at a cellular level. And transformations are happening under our feet, they're happening in the air, and they're happening inside us as well. All of the time. They're so subtle and gradual, but what's slowly happening, and what is for sure, is that we're moving towards the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's inevitable. And although we can't see it, we never doubt it, do we? We never doubt that we're going to get to spring, even though we can't see the transition happening because it's happening so slowly, or we don't see it happening quickly at least. So basically that means that we actually have faith in nature, don't we? Because there are certain things that we're certain of, things that we don't question. And so I think it's really important to take this lesson from nature, the faith that we have, and to realise that to achieve the relationship that you desire, all you and your partner need to do is to set goals. And then once you set goals, you need to decide together how you're going to get there towards those goals. So in order to reach your desired outcome, what you need to do is break your goals down into much smaller, manageable steps, measurable steps, things that are achievable. And what you can then do is action them. So now these steps can be very subtle and gradual, and the changes can be just as slow as they need to be. And just as spring is coming, if you have faith that you'll be able to achieve the outcome you desire, what you need to do is you need to put aside impatience, wanting to get there quicker than is reasonably possible, and also putting aside feelings of overwhelm, because if you break that big goal down into small manageable steps, then you know that you can achieve that goal. You wouldn't get up and start to expect to run a marathon next week just because you decided you wanted to run a marathon, and you wouldn't planned that to happen, and you'd feel overwhelmed if you did. Of course you would, because to do anything that you want to achieve, you have to set the goal first, know what it is that you want, and then work out a structured plan to get there. So with a marathon, there's a certain training plan that takes people months to perfect, months to go through to get to their desired goal. But don't feel overwhelmed, because there's an old Chinese proverb by Laozi, which is a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And it's the case in nature, it's the case in your relationship, and anything you want to achieve. So if you'd like my help to map out your relationship goals and to work out the steps needed for your personal journey to move towards those goals, then my relationship coaching package could be absolutely perfect for you. So come to my website, which is www.crystalwoodbridge.com. That's KRYSTAL.com, and there you can fill out a form and contact me to inquire. I would absolutely love to hear from you, so comment on the post below if any of this rings true for you. If you want to know more information, you can also message me on Facebook. Take care for now. Bye.